computer. Good morning and welcome to our Saturday forum, Exploring Green Chalice. We are delighted to have Reverend Scott Hardinieri with us today. Scott serves as co-minister of Green Chalice and director and minister of Bethany Congregations, bringing nearly 20 years of congregational ministry experience to those roles. He co-founded Eco Grief Circles, leads climate-informed spiritual direction, workshops, and retreats, and works to build community resilience through gratitude, grief, and action. Insights deepened by Hurricane Helene's impact on Western North Carolina. Scott holds degrees from Texas A&M and San Francisco Theological Seminary and seeks to foster curiosity, deep listening, and active hope while helping communities grow justice and resilience in a climate-changed world. So, Scott, we are delighted to have you here. And I'm going to let you take it away, and the rest of us can mute ourselves.
Wonderful. And thank you. Just really grateful for your congregational way of being in the world. And Rebecca, in general, your desire for, passion for justice and joy cultivating in the communities that you serve. And I've had the benefit of being around you since seminary and in different orbits and circles, and just very grateful for the ways that you lead with power and with grace and with joy. So I'm really grateful for this invitation. And I do bring greetings from Disciples Home Missions and from Green Chalice and Carol Devine, who is the the founder and co-minister with this, and then also Bethany Congregations and Bethany Fellows. And so really grateful to be with you all today. What I'm imagining happening, and this may, we're adapting. This is part of being resilient, is to offer a brief word of opening and prayer time. And then I'm going to invite you to share a story with one another. And I'm trying to figure out if we want to be recording some of this part, but and then after that, I will go through a little bit about my story of how I got called into or invited into climate work and faith, and then also how the church, our denomination, and the church in general is moving in this way of trying to bring healing in the midst of a climate change world. And so then there will be slides at that point, where I'm just like putting information out there. But at these early moments will be a little bit more extroverted. And so just where you can rest, you introverts, you can rest a little bit later in our time together. But right now, I'm going to invite you to center in, and Rebecca, I'll let you decide if you want to turn off the recording for this, or if people are comfortable. Just remember, Kathy and Mary and Rebecca, that we're being recorded. So whatever you share here could be out. I don't know how wide the audience will ever be, but just know if you're sharing things about grief and gratitude or any of your stories may be recorded. So just a reminder of that.
I'm happy to pause the recording if that would.
Yeah, let's do that, because I think this is more personal sharing, and then the Green Chalice stuff is more, more public facing, if that's all
Okay.
right.
Okay. Is this the moment?
This is it.
Okay.
Pause. All right. Is that working?
Yes.
Great. All right. Well, thank you all again, and wanted to share a little bit more. We just did a grief and gratitude practice together. This is a image from Black Mountain after Hurricane Helene, a vigil of a community coming together. There was definitely grief and gratitude in the midst of Hurricane Helene in Western North Carolina. And our group earlier, even if you're listening to this recording, we shared stories of wonder and awe of a time in nature where we felt a God moment or experienced some moment of wonder and awe. And if you're at home watching this, I invite you to just remember a time of wonder and awe. Part of our work at Green Chalice is there's so many elements in the Bible about creation care and about caring for the earth, and And one of the more formative scriptures that we rely on is from Mark. And this is what you all have heard. The greatest commandment is sometimes what it's called. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one. Love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your mind, with all your strength. And the second commandment is this: you shall love your neighbor as yourself. There's no other commandment greater than these. And we recognize this as an expansive understanding of God's love, not just for our neighborhood and our town, but uh, for all kinds of neighbors. My family and I had the opportunity to live in a different country in Costa Rica, Monteverde, Costa Rica. And in the midst of that, we were humbled and we learned a lot about our neighbors and our human neighbors and our community there, but then also our more than human neighbors. And so I wanted to share with you a few of the neighbors that we were around in this little cloud forest. And we were in the continental divide of Costa Rica is between Panama and Nicaragua in Central America, and we were between the Atlantic and Pacific Ocean in this little element that's called the cloud forest, this ecosystem. And
Mm.
so the clouds generally sit in the optimal weather on the forest, and a lot of the plants and receiving nutrients directly from the air. And so some of them do not have root systems; they're sitting among the tree canopy, and so it's just really unique ecosystem. And we were really grateful to be there. This is one of the our neighbors. That's my hand, and so it's a really a kind neighbor came and knocked on the window one night, and I opened the door and was like, "Oh my gosh, this is a really large critter here." So that was one of our neighbors. This millipede is also found in North Carolina, and you may have them there in the Pacific Southwest, but uh, I love this millipede because of its defense systems. One is it rolls up to protect itself. The second defense is to make itself unattractive by pooping. And then the third defense is my favorite, and that's the one that emits a little cyanide gas between each of these scales. Like there's glands, and it emits a little bit of cyanide. And so it smells like sweet cherries or almonds if you disturb it enough. And I don't disturb them that often, but when I do, I get to have that little scent. It's amazing neighbor of ours in Monteverde. This is a bellbird. This is a three wattle bellbird. You can see his little one wattle, and he's got two on the other side, so it's not bilateral. It's a really unique bird. They're only found in Costa Rica and Panama, and this is a teenager. And generally, you can see how he's sitting on the edge of this branch. A lot of times, the males, adults want to be sitting right where he's sitting to attract, yeah, other mates and friends. And so the older male will come and fly next to him and try to shimmy him off of that spot. And if that doesn't work, then he uses the voice, which is loud enough where you can hear it 2 kilometers away. It's one of the loudest sounds in nature, is this bonk sound that it had. And he will turn his head and bonk into the ear of this adolescent teenager to try to repel him off. So it's both used as a call and as a repelling. And so I'm grateful for this neighbor in Monteverde that we used to hear all the time. This is a resplendent quetzal, and just amazing, klutzy, beautiful bird in the cloud forest there. And yeah, pretty unique to that ecosystem. And we were walking in the woods one time, and something fell out of the tree, and our guide said, "Try to find what fell." And I went over and I found what looked kind of like an acorn. And he said, "Pick it up." And I picked up this, it looked like a seed or something. And he said, "What does it feel like?" And I could feel it was very warm. And he said, "Yeah, that's an avocado pit from a quetzal or bellbird who had ingested it and then vomited the pit back up." And I was like, "Oh, so I'm holding Bird vomit. That's exciting. But this is the kind of avocado. This is one of 33 different kinds of avocados that are growing in the Monteverde area, and this is a primary way that these birds are fed, and also another way that this forest is dispersed. Like these birds will ingest it and then fly somewhere else and then regurgitate it up, and then that seed is ready to be germinated and planted. So the forest has grown in that way. So a lot of beautiful creatures in our neighborhood. This is another one right outside of our house, a sloth. And these are little ecosystems in themselves. Like they will grow a fungus on that. They say up to like 75 different kinds of creatures and plants can grow on a sloth. So different kinds of insects, and this will grow a certain kind of algae that will help camouflage it. It turns it like a green shade. And there is one moth that is endemic to a sloth that will eat the algae or the kind of the mold, and then they have a whole like pattern of relationship with this sloth. It's a really powerful neighbor and a condominium at the same time of neighbors on this little mama and baby sloth. So, in the midst of that, we were curious about how do we love our human neighbors well? How do we love our non-human neighbors well? And we began to understand the dance around how human and non-human interact, and how the things that we're doing as humans impact our non-human neighbors, and how that then impacts our human neighbors again. So, the ways that we treat our rivers, the ways that we're treating our air, the ways that we treat our climate are all impacting humans and non-humans. We heard over and over again during my climate, during this time of Montevideo is where I had my climate conversion experience, because I continued to hear stories of how the clouds were raising in this cloud forest, and how it was drier. And when it rained, it rained harder and flooded more. A lot of the wells were drying up earlier and earlier each season, and the forests were suffering when I was there, and that was about 10 years ago. So I began to get really interested in and curious about how climate change worked, and how it was impacted by the decisions I was making, and how the church might get involved with it. And we came back from Monteverde between the 2 years that we lived there, and we're at a General Assembly in Orlando, Florida, and we're looking for the church to be reacting to what we were seeing as an emergency every day. It was like, I was hearing about it from taxi cab drivers, from hotel owners, from coffee farmers, baristas. Everyone was talking about how things were changing down there. And the church was very quiet about climate change. And I was upset. And I met Carol Devine, and she was gracious and spent time with me, and talked to me about what was happening with Green Chalice. But overall, I was troubled, and I didn't think that the church could move quickly enough to shift our patterns and to help the world. And so I was thinking about leaving ministry, and was looking into nonprofit work, and like going back to get a different degree, or to work in climate related businesses and financing. In the midst of that, well, let me just tell you a little bit about. I'll pause on what happened with that story, and then just tell you, you all, I think, know about climate, from what I gathered from our earlier conversations, but it's basically like putting a nice warm blanket on you, and then you get another one, and then you get another one, and there's too many blankets, and you're overheating, and that's kind of what's happening right now on the Earth. And it's a real challenge for I mean, for all of us. There are 26,000 independent lines of evidence, give or take. A few of them are like that just say that the Earth is warming, and there are many lines of evidence that indicate that humans are the main cause of that warming that's been happening over the course of the past 150 years or so. And these are a few of the indicators of a warming world. Just last year, and I bring this one up because in LA there were the wildfires that you all were probably impacted by, but they measure how many billion-dollar weather and climate disasters each year And so last year there were 23 of them, and that's actually lower than 2024 and 2023, but still a massive amount. And I don't really like to measure disaster by dollars, but this is a way that people can understand and get a glimpse of what kind of impact a variety of disasters are making in our world. And so you all experienced those LA fires uh, close to home and probably have threats of wildfire or warnings of wildfire in your forest. And I know that that Loch Levin, your camp and conference center up there, has been experienced forest fires as well. So that's just one of many kinds of climate disasters, but just aware of that, and we could name the ones that you're aware of. I already named the tennis tournament just recently. There's a heat wave in Europe right now. Like there are a variety of things that you might be noticing right now. It used to be that we're talking about this is going to happen in the future. We need to slow down, our carbon output, but it's happening now. And so I'll leave that question to just linger because I want to make sure we have time for questions and conversation. Uh, but for me, I was seeing this in Monteverde and I was ready to leave the church. And I met with this, he was a professor at University of California that had been in Monteverde for 30 years, receiving groups of students. And he was an atheist, but he was very entrenched in climate activism and climate work. And so we met together and I told him about my dilemma and that I was thinking about sustainability degree or like what kind of degree, how do I direct me to do the best I could do for the earth with what I could, what kind of degree. And he basically said, we have all the solutions we need. We have the science we need. We just don't have people that are interested in this. And I don't have access to faith communities because I'm not interested in that. That's not my community. But maybe you do. I wonder if you could help us, scientists and people that understand climate, talk to and encourage and accompany people of faith to do this work with us because we need help. We can't do it alone. Just the science isn't enough. We need people that are able to engage this work from a variety of perspectives. So I wonder if you could explore staying in the church and imagining a call to, I'm putting words in his mouth now, but imagining a call that includes climate change. And so he called me back into the church. He called me back into ministry, and I began to explore different ways. I called Carol back and found that there is a lot happening within faith communities and within our denomination. This is just a reminder of the wildfires from before, the French Open. That guy's not dead; he's just tired. There's Frank. This is the man that helped me re-engage with the church. This is a hike in Monteverde, and this quote kind of elevates what Frank told me. I used to think that environmental problems. Would somebody else read that? Because my little the thing that I'm like your faces are covering my quote, so I can't see it.
Can read it.
Thanks.
I used to think that top environmental problems were biodiversity loss, ecosystem collapse, and climate change. I thought that 30 years of good science could address these problems. I was wrong. The top environmental problems are selfishness, greed, and apathy. To deal with these, we need a cultural and spiritual transformation, and we scientists don't know how to do that.
Mhm. Wow.
So, who knows how to do cultural and spiritual transformation? I believe the church is the answer that I come up with. That at our best, we think generationally. We think about the folks that are the wise elders as well as the kids, and then the ones that are coming after those kids. We hold stories in our scriptures and in our own communities about resilience and hope. We know how to do relationships inside and outside the church, even though we splinter over church carpet arguments and all other sorts of ways. We are among the only places where differences of policy and political conversations, we know how to be together in the midst of hard times. And we have an element of holy creativity or prophetic imagination. We can imagine a future that is not terrible because we trust the Holy Spirit in some ways to be moving with us. And so we can bring about this powerful holy creativity and prophetic imagination. So faith communities do have a powerful way to engage in this climate work. I'm just going to roll through these really quickly because but just as a reminder that because as people of faith, we care about so many things and it's overwhelming. But all of these elements, water, migration, poverty, gender, housing, hunger, peace, race, children, economy, and more, are impacted by climate change. And so the next few slides, I'm just going to, I don't, I'm just going to not show them to you. Basically, I'm just like going to scroll through them. But each one of these, we could have a whole webinar about migration or gender and how climate change is negatively impacting these elements that generally people of faith care about. So I'm going to quickly move through these. And these are in the Climate Ambassador training. So if you haven't heard of that, with Blessed Tomorrow, we have a disciples version of it. And so you're welcome to check that out. And it's a great training. So our response, the disciples are responding, and one of the ways that we do that is through Green Chalice and through Disciples Home Mission around climate change, but also around creation care in general. We have 27 regions, about 230 Green Chalice churches, and 30 certified churches. And the Pacific Southwest region has several congregations, 21 of them that are Green Chalice churches, and 5 that are certified, and 1 that's carbon neutral. Um, you all are a very strong region for Green Chalice. We know All Peoples is not really it's not a church anymore, but it's still Green Chalice aligned. Our covenant, which you can find on the website, includes a variety of ways to act on behalf of creation care. Just really quickly, the way to become a Green Chalice Church, like this is one of our earlier manifestations of how we accompany congregations, is to form a green team. It's more fun to do this with other people. And to sign that covenant that I just showed you a screen above, and then to make 3 changes. Any 3 changes around creation care are eligible to, a cleanup, growing food, and a tree giveaway or a plant giveaway. Those are 3 things right there in this one slide. So anything that you're doing, whether it's programmable lights or starting a recycling program at your congregation, will enable you to become a Green Chalice church. So grateful for those that have done that. Other expressions, I'll talk a little bit about certification later, but other expressions is the Justice and Creation Youth Fellowship Grant. So we've had this will be 36 congregations and about 36 young adults between the ages of 16 and 26 that are receiving these grants. It's 12 a summer to do Green Chalice kinds of work in their churches or their ministry sites. So it could be a camp or conference center. And it's been really exciting to see these young folks. And I just got an email a couple of days ago from someone that is in Europe with his study abroad program, learning about sustainability. And he keeps drawing from his experience during his Justice and Creation summer. And so he was just thanking us for that experience. So just beautiful. And this all came from a grant from Heights Christian Church, who closed their building and gave it some of their resources to Green Chalice. And so we're paying that forward in these little mini grants. So grateful for that. These are the current Justice and Creation Summer Fellows. Excited to have those folks coming together. We have 100. I mentioned the Climate Ambassador training. You're welcome to be trained as well. We have over 100 disciples of Christ that are ambassadors that are trained through Blessed Tomorrow. And so I encourage you to check that out. A couple of things that are coming up. The Black Church and Climate Justice webinar is happening in July. So I invite you to check that out. And a clergy conference for those of you that are pastors, you're welcome to join us in September in Black Mountain. It's a great time to be in Western North Carolina. So come on out. We've got scholarships available for that to help offset the cost if that's helpful to you. And would love to see you, Rebecca, or anyone else that's interested. And then we are just announcing the Disciples Mission Week. DHM is offering this week-long experience with a work day, a volunteer work day on September 12th. And so this will be the inaugural time to do this. And so we're creating it as we go, but this is something to just make note of for that week of September 8th through the 13th as a way of looking at mission together. Certification, we have, I can talk more about that later. I want to make sure we have time for
Got into the fine print
questions.
here.
Yeah. So I'll just scroll through it really fast. This is more, so there's five categories. It's the five are buildings and office practices, grounds, property, restoration, conservation. Third is worship and education. Fourth is community outreach, justice, and advocacy. And the fifth is resilience, disaster preparedness, climate anxiety, climate grief, that sort of thing. So I'll just scroll through the five building and office practices. There's, solar panels, um, grounds and restoration. That's habitat restoration. This is an amazing tree that writes newsletter articles at St. Paul's Christian Church. So Aunt Alba does the Green Chalice articles for their newsletter from the tree's perspective, this oak tree. Greenleaf Christian Church, farm to table, farm to plate work there in North Carolina. Worship and education is the third area of certification. This is a youth and music event that had a climate focus in Iowa. Blue Theology is a mission station, and they do these prayer walks along the coast and in tidewater areas. An eco grief experience and circle at St. George's Episcopal Church here in Asheville. Justice and outreach. We were in DC for a climate march a few years back with Green Chalice folks represented among many other faith communities and denominations that were part of that climate march. And more recently had conversations around food and land stewardship at the Black Ministers Retreat and looking at environmental racism and food sovereignty for communities of color. And so grateful to be learning alongside Dr. Heber Brown III and so many others. And we're part of the Colors of Hope book is there's a green chapter that's one of the colors, and so we got to participate in a Colors of Hope retreat at Christ Mount a few years back. Resilience and spiritual care. And this is where we recognize that solar panels and composting was not enough because our souls were being crushed in the midst of the work because it is very, very difficult. And so we began to augment with pastoral care, spiritual care, mental health awareness, and then also thinking about disaster readiness and disaster response. And so that's where this comes in, where we're looking at the resilience of the human, the one person, or the resilience of the congregation, and as well as resilience and spiritual care for a whole community. Yeah. So let's pause there. I've got a lot of questions for you, but I think let's wait since I've just been talking this whole time. What questions do you all have? And I'll stop sharing.
Hmm. Let's see. What about the summer fellows? What age are those people?
They're between the ages of 16 and 26. And that's the general. We have had fellows that are a little younger with
Mhm.
approval, like they apply and then we match them against, but generally 16 to 26. So
Thank
some
you.
of them are out of college, they're professionals. Like there was a nurse at one point, and there's baristas, and then others that are in high school doing this for their summer break.
Hmm. And
Mm.
are they more likely to be where they already live, or do they go somewhere new for that?
They generally, sometimes like in a college town, like a congregation will find a like sustainability major or a social work major to be their intern. And what's been interesting about that is they sometimes will keep coming to the church. So like they kind of recruit them for this summer experience, and then they can double dip into maybe their major likes it. But then this has happened twice where they start to consider ministry and they start attending the church regularly. So it's been a nice gift in that regard. But generally, these are folks that are somehow connected to the church already. Either they're a grandkid of someone that goes to the church, or they're in youth group, or they are a young adult that works in the same town. I mean, I'm happy with any of the ways. I do love when, I mean, but I love both of them. Like, recruiting someone and then for them to get a taste of what it means to be a part of the Disciples Church and doing sustainability and
Yeah.
justice is a powerful testimony, but also like being able to pay someone that is already in your church to explore this vocation and to be dreaming about it is a really fun way to connect them to the church's ministry and to generally they build teams, right? Like we have a garden team and then the intern or fellow will be part of that garden team. So it builds relationships across generations as well. And we ask there to be a mentor for each of the ministry sites and that they're regularly connected to. So that was a long
Mm.
answer for
That's
both.
fun though. Oh, that's good. That's good. You had asked before we got started if we were a Green Chalice congregation, and we are not, but just looking at those, looking at the criteria, I think part of because you describe them as changes, right? So I think Green Chalice congregation, maybe Green Chalice in general, came into being very shortly after we had installed solar panels. Like,
Mhm.
well, it's not a change now. We already have them. And so it's kind of like, well, we're sort of doing this parallel to the process, but the other, so we've had those since I think like 2012.
Mhm.
But the other thing that is much newer is we just partnered with a couple of local like sustainable plant gardening groups, and they transformed this weird little lot that is across the street from our church that we've owned forever, and it's always been a problem. And now it is totally beautiful pollinator garden. It has a bench, it has a little library, it has a bee hotel, and it's just like it's blooming. And it has this little path, is it's on a corner, right? But the path goes through, and so people walk. I mean, that because it's the shortcut around the corner, people are walking through it every single day now. And it's just we had a big ribbon cutting in April, and it's just been amazing. So that's kind of the coolest thing we've done lately.
Yeah.
And it's totally transformed that corner, which has been awesome. So.
Well, y'all are Green Child's church. Just do the homework and you're in. I
Right?
mean, we'll count the solar panels from 2012. Like we're not going to penalize you for being a leader in a sustainability in your
Oh,
region.
wow.
It's the ha forming a green team and having a meeting. That's what the part
Right, that
that's
is hard
good
too.
at. So
Two of you counts. If you got, I mean, is Mary, I don't know if Mary, you go to the same congregation, but like
Mhm.
y'all are, this is the team. Kathy,
Mhm.
if you're welcome to join the team
Mhm.
too. So boom, you're in. I'm not trying to force you. Like this is by choice for sure, but like we're fast tracking your approval via on the web. Like, you're
right, we
recording
just
this.
had a grief circle, right? So
That's right.
oh,
This is crazy, but as soon as you said tree giveaway, I saw myself giving away trees. I totally was there.
yeah.
So
And
that's,
I bet our gardening friends could hook us up with somebody who would give us trees to give away.
I
So
bet they could. Yeah.
so yeah, we could have an annual Arbor Day party in the pollinator garden. So
Yeah, on September 12th on that it's during the
well,
season of
yeah.
creation.
Yeah, September 12th is already taken.
Okay.
Every second Saturday is our homeless outreach. So we're
Okay,
Yeah.
got
already
it.
doing mission that day, pre-planned, has been for 9 or 10 years now. So
That's great.
actually this will be our 10th anniversary year for that. So
It's amazing.
yeah, it's the one thing, and like just in terms of the one thing I wish we could do, because when I was a child, when I was in like middle school, our youth group got all excited about that was back in the chlorofluorocarbon days, right? It's the styrofoam as the enemy.
Hmm.
And so our youth group took a proposal to the board that we would stop using styrofoam and
Nice.
start using real dishes. And I wish we would stop using paper cups at coffee hour and various things, but I really think the decision for that is replacing our ridiculous, like industrial sized dishwasher that no one knows how to use, so we never do, with one
Yes.
that is like human scaled that we could throw the 2 dozen cups in and wash them up. And so that's probably one of my most immediate goals, that we could redo that.
Mhm, mhm.
Yeah, I don't know if you know this, Scott, and I don't remember if it's California wide or San Diego County, but we are technically required to compost food waste at this point rather than putting it in the regular trash. So we've been trying to do that some with our homeless outreach. We're doing it more with like the eggshells in the kitchen and the grape stems, not exactly doing it with the weight because I would have to have a whole separate like garbage monitor volunteer if we were doing it with the stuff that people are actually eating. But we're doing it like with small dinners. We'll have the little bucket by the garbage can to scrape plates and stuff. So that's like baby steps, right? Because it's just hard to build up those habits. But I think we've done
Hmm.
pretty well with that, Mary Jane. You've seen the bucket before, right?
Mhm,
So when
mhm.
it's there, generally people use it. So it's
Yeah, you just keep naming more and more things that you're doing. I mean, and also maybe your whole church is the green team because you're continually thinking about it from a variety of angles. I mean, that's the dream is that it's not a green
Yeah,
team. It's like the whole congregation is just thinking in this way, and that's the ultimate goal. And really, the Green Chalice kind of this whole process is designed to like support you all just like to be an excuse to like keep thinking about it and having conversations about it and like what could we do next, like that kind of thing, not like
yeah, yeah.
follow the rules, get all the points or whatever. So,
Mhm,
yeah, well,
but you may not need it even. It's like y'all are just
mhm.
doing it.
One of the things I'm really interested in is exploring more this climate grief because I think many people carry that. I think it's in the background. I think it's there. And I think it was Joanna Macy who talked about that a good bit. And I would love to see that come forward because I think that's the kind of conversation that could bring more action, more commitment. I can spend my time helping us do all this stuff. Um, if that were acknowledged, I think it's not acknowledged enough.
yeah.
So,
You're very right.
yeah. But I,
We
I, I mean, I have no clue how to approach that, but I'm pretty sure that with some good conversations, we could find a way.
Mhm.
I don't know.
um Well, the so Joanna Macy is a big. I'm really grateful for her, and so you're very right that she's influenced a lot of my thinking and my work at Green Chalice as well as in Bethany Congregations, Bethany Fellows. Her processes and then her acknowledgement of grief being and the
Yeah.
courage to face grief and like allowing the feelings to come is a really powerful expression that she has of how to do this work. We uh, there were four other like pastors and therapists that got together when we started hearing more and more people come to us with climate anxiety and
Mhm.
existential grief. And we created these circles and we were going to do them in person and then COVID hit. And so then we started doing them online and we have about a 7 week process where we explore different facets of grief. So we look at anger and how that is aligned with our climate, experience,
Mhm.
despair, sorrow, shame, and guilt. And so we move through a variety of elements using a process similar. I mean, we did the grief and gratitude practice. You tasted a little bit of what we do in our climate grief
Yes.
circles. But we've probably offered 13 different circles now. And so we're kind of running it out of DHM. Green Chalice offers them. So we have that as a available thing that we'll probably do in the fall. Again, we typically do one in the fall and one in the spring, a 7 week course. So, and it's not a course, it's a sharing group essentially.
And but it is at this point like designed to be online, so it's people, any given one is people from all over.
Mhm.
'Cause I wonder if we could. I mean, there are, the Faith Coalition of La Mesa or other East County churches, if we could, do something like that that would be kind of locally based, probably still online because everybody's busy and whatever. But if you
Mhm.
get to know your actual neighbors doing that,
Mhm.
then who knows what could come out of that. That could be.
Yes. Our last
Mhm.
one, there was a pastor that had like six people join so they were in Denver and we did I was in Asheville. And so then when we had our breakout rooms, it was her and five people from her church. And so their breakout rooms, even though they were in different rooms, but they were all in Denver. So then they had this common experience. So we could have breakout rooms that are, Pacific Southwest region or your Vista La Mesa church, small breakout room as a
Yeah.
way to connect the dots.
Mhm.
We could even, yeah, it's funny because we're down here in San Diego. There are like eight or so disciples congregations, and we're really far away from Los Angeles, both physically and traffic wise and psychologically.
Hmm.
So uh, they never come here, and we sometimes go there, but we also have fairly strong relationships with like ecumenically in where we're in East County with other East County congregations. So that's something we could aim in that direction too if other folks. I mean, there's just so many things, right? Like we've already said multiple times.
Yeah.
But yeah, like you said, Mary Jane, this just sort of looms, right? It's like the looming thing in the background of everything. And
Yeah.
you were talking, Scott, about how you noticed climate change in Costa Rica. I feel like I kind of moved here. I moved here in 2011, kind of right around the time like everybody who lived here before that was like, "Oh, San Diego, the weather is completely predictable." Um, and about the time I moved here was when that broke and it's just not anymore. And we're having May gray now, but we're also having May gray all day, which is kind of new. Like that's supposed to happen in the winter, not right now. And so it's like even in the weather isn't climate, and yet weather gives us clues, right? And it's there every single day.
Mhm.
So it is impossible to ignore, even if you're trying really hard, I think. So.
Hmm.
Yeah. I have a question. What does DHM stand for?
Disciples Home Missions. And so it's
Home missions.
yes, it's
Okay.
a part of the church that shares and cares for denominational resources, but also cares for clergy and chaplains and churches. And so there's just kind of the
Okay.
general church, and Green Chalice is under that. Like that's our main
Oh,
kind of connection point. So
okay. Thank
we're
you.
we're a ministry.
I knew I had heard those three letters, but I couldn't remember what they were for.
No, it's a great question.
Yeah. So,
We are like every denomination, a church of acronyms. So,
Hmm.
so
yeah.
do we have other questions? I mean, Scott, I think you've given us a lot of things to think about and imagine. Um,
Yeah.
and that prophetic imagination is so important for this because it is really hard to just be like, well, we broke it. Been nice having a planet we could live on. Guess we're checking out now, right? And at some level, like it's also about humility, right? Well, the planet will still be here whether humans can live on it or not, right? We had a good run, but so it's just balancing all of that is yeah, I don't know. It's a lot.
Hmm.
Hmm.
So if I go to the Green Chalice website, would I find reading lists and lists of videos and resources like that?
There
To,
is a resource list, and the greenchalice.org I mean, or DHM has it as well. But I'm going to put in the chat, and I know it's harder to get to the chat from different devices, but I placed in the chat a little bit about a past eco grief circle, so you can just read, what it is and that sort of thing, and then I just added our Green Chalice Tools resource guide. So there's so many in there. And some of it's, it's all really good, but there's just a lot. So just like take your time. Don't get overwhelmed by it. I mean, you can feel your own feelings. So if you want to be overwhelmed, you can, but there's a lot there. And then the other thing that I want to share is I just started reading this book called Climate Wayfinding. And it's written by somebody that's in Atlanta, and she was working with Project Drawdown, which is this amazing book and resource. And climate wayfinding is, and it's basically like a retreat style. Like it's similar to what I described. It's like 7 or 8 sessions of discernment work. And so I am really interested in that book, and I'm interested in that way, and curious about like offering some sort of book study because it does acknowledge the spiritual ramifications. She's not a person of faith necessarily, but it's a full-bodied head experience of discernment, I think. And so what I've heard so far is really powerful, and I know she's a good author, and so I'm excited about that. So that'd be another resource to check out. It's like that was just published like a month ago or something like that. And
What's, oops,
What's her name?
her name is
yeah.
Catherine Wilkinson. I'll try to find it real quick. Climate wayfinding. And she's been doing these retreats, and then she eventually just said, "Okay, we're gonna make this a curriculum." And I mean, it's a book, but it's also a curriculum too. So I just
Yeah.
started it, but I'm definitely curious about like offering a book study together, with Green Chalice to see if we could do something like this as a ministry. And she wants that. I mean, I think she's giving it to us to do as long as we credit her, I would imagine. So that's the latest thing that I'm excited about because it does give that element of hope and also like what are we
Mhm.
going to do and how do we find joy in the midst of it? And so
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Hmm.
yeah.
All right. Any other closing questions? We are slightly past time, so Scott, I just want to thank you so much for sharing your story and the practices and all the opportunities that we have. And I think we knew there are many other disciples out there who are caring and passionate about these issues and connecting to that and being reminded of all the different ways we can approach that
Mhm.
is really helpful. So thank you for being with us, and we wish you the best with the continued ministry of Green Chalice and all the other things. The eco grief circles are within Green Chalice. Yes. Okay. So
yeah,
most of this happens through there, and your work with Bethany is just your side hustle. All right.
it's a full half hustle, yeah, but we do
Okay.
grief work with them as well with those
Sure.
congregations.
Sure.
I wonder as a way of closing if and I don't want to interrupt you, so whatever you finish, but I do have
I can be
a
done.
closing question. I wonder if we could just share a word that we're carrying forth with us, like as a benediction, just one word to express what we're carrying out of our rectangle. We had the grief and gratitude coming in, and what is a word you're carrying forth with you?
Hope.
Hope,
Excitement.
excitement,
Hope was my word too, but she said excitement. So now I'm going to say anticipation.
anticipation,
Put it all in the same direction.
connection.
Absolutely.
Grateful for this coast to coast experience.
Yes,
Amen.
thank you.
Thank you.